5, 4, 3, 2. And welcome to Hero Power. This is episode 68, and I am your host, Avantes. And as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio.
What is up, gang? Chat room, you're blowing it up tonight.
That's right. And Versika.
What's up, guys? And hey, I was noticing the chat room said we'll have to wait for the VOD. There is no VOD of the pre-show, guys. If you want pre-show stuff, you have to show up for pre-show.
That's right.
First rule of pre-show is we don't VOD pre-show.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Yep.
So, all right. We've got a great show for you guys this week. A lot to talk about. We are the day after Valentine's. Did everybody have a good Valentine's Day, Zeroshio?
Yeah, I mean, I wish my wife happy Valentine's. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day because our anniversary is so close to it. So we had a nice day, short day together, and went back to our normal gaming lifestyle.
Nice. Versika, did you have a good Valentine's Day?
Much like many things about the three of us, our wedding anniversaries are all in the same week, which is so bizarre.
They're all within a day of each other.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day either because our wedding anniversary is the next week. Which reminds me, we need to remind everybody that next week I will not be streaming on Monday, and instead of my normal stream, we will be doing Hero Power on Monday.
That's right. Yep. Hero Power will be next Monday night at our usual time, but not our usual day because it is all of our wedding anniversaries. God, it's just, yeah.
Versika and Avanti's anniversary is on Wednesday. So the great idea was to bump it to Thursday, which happens to be my anniversary. So
that's right.
That wasn't going to work either.
So I didn't really have any plans. I decided to take my wife to the movie yesterday. And as we're getting ready to leave the house, I open the front door and there is a FedEx envelope just casually thrown on the front porch. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is. So I look up at it and it's got my name on it, but no other unusual markings. So I tear open the envelope, and inside is a smaller envelope. And I'm like, oh, it's like one of those Russian nesting dolls. It's just going to be envelope inside of envelope. But inside the other envelope was a Valentine's card that read, "Roses are red, mana crystals are blue. I've got infinite golems, but my choose one is you." Needless to say, I was a little confused when I opened this. I had no idea what it was, where it was coming from. I was like, oh, somebody found some really cool World of Warcraft Hearthstone Valentine's cards. And then I turned it over. And it's signed by Team 5.
That is super cool.
Yeah. It's also proof positive that Avantes never really reads Twitter.
That's very true. I really only check Twitter once a day, and it's usually in the evenings. So I want to throw a huge shout out to Molly at Blizzard who made this possible. I have heard from people inside. She was integral in getting these Valentines created and shipped. Because you have got to understand, as many of these that went out has got to be a huge task to get them all created, signed, and shipped and arrive on Valentine's Day. That's a massive undertaking. So
here's my question about that. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Where's mine and Zero's?
That's right here, man. Right here. We are all Patrick tonight.
Well, here's the thing: is Avanti's was able to be the super lucky one of us to go out and do one of these conventions, get together, meetups,
Summit.
Summit. That's the best one for it. The Innkeeper Summit. And I know a few other people got these, and everybody who did get these were somebody that went to Blizzard and was involved in some form of summit or meetup or something that involved a tour of the headquarters. It's really cool that Team 5 and Blizzard as a whole is willing to take a little time out of their busy schedule to recognize the people involved in the community. And for that, I give a huge shout out and thank you.
Yeah, I also want to throw a huge shout out to my boy Jesse at Blizzard. He's
so good to us.
He is good to us. He's good to the community as a whole. He's really the driving force behind the Fireside Gatherings program. And he will go out of his way to try to help community members any way he can. And he's so good at his job. So thank you to Molly. Thank you to JJ. Thank you to all of Team 5 for just doing what you do on a regular basis. This game would just be a card game if it wasn't for the involvement, the community involvement of everybody at Blizzard. It reminds me Blizzard is not just a company that makes video games. They're a people company. And I think that's what's really important. So, all right. Before we jump into the news,
I was going to say, so that's it for the positives.
That's it.
Let's get ready for the salt.
Before we do that, Versika, why don't you tell us about our friends over at Viforce?
All right, so guys, I am going on 2 months now, and my Viforce machine is still going strong. I love it. When Avanti's came over earlier to show me something from the mail that we're getting in for the tournament, which, by the way, if you're going to be at our Fireside this weekend, you're in for a pretty cool surprise. Something a little different in this care package. So when he came in, my room was dark. I had my Viforce machine glow all over my walls. It was awesome. But one of the things that I just continue to notice about this machine is that it is still just as fast as the day I got it out of the box. And to me, I think that's a sign of a good machine. I don't think I've had a computer yet that I've actually been on and worked on and hasn't just I have some computers I just boot up for Photoshop and some that I have one that I keep a journal on. But over time, as I use the computer, it tends to slow down. But one of the things that I've noticed about this machine is it's on pretty much every day. And it's still moving just as fast as the day I got it. It's awesome. I've not had problem number one out of it. So if you're looking for a new desktop, if a gaming desktop is something that is kind of in the corner of your mind and you're not really sure if it's worth the investment, go on to ViforceGaming.com, check out their selection. If you don't see anything that you necessarily like or that just fits right in what you need, get in touch with them. They allow you to customize your machine, and they'll find the machine that's right for you and tell you why you need that machine. They'll also not let you overpay for something that you don't need, which is also very cool. And it's something that I know Zeroshio has had experience with this last time. And so when we switch over from audio to the play portion, I may have him talk a little bit about that experience as well.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got no emails and no iTunes reviews this week, so let's jump right into the news. All right. So this week, Blizzard announced patch 7.1 will be bringing changes.
we're gonna start with this, huh?
Yeah. I want to
And the
save
internet exploded.
I want to save the rest of it for later. Yeah. So we're gonna start with
Okay,
this.
okay. See where
So
we're going with this. That's all right.
Jumping
we're-
right in.
That's right.
Feet
You
first.
said it was all salt, so here we go. Patch 7.1 brings 2 card changes that we know of thus far, plus some changes to the rank ladder. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Small Time Buccaneer is going from a 1-mana 1/2 to a 1-mana 1/1.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I think that's a good change. It makes it a little easier to deal with Small Time Buccaneer on turn 1. The other card...
Makes it a lot easier to deal with Small Time Buccaneer turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what this did, I don't think there was a way you could fix Small Time Buccaneer. And I don't know whether that's just bad concept from the beginning, or whether they just didn't foresee the impact he would have on the meta. But at 1 health, you pretty much just completely killed that card.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm excited for this change. I think it's going to be good.
No, I mean it needed to happen. I'm
right,
just saying,
and I think the card
way that they brought Small Time Buccaneer in.
Yeah, you're still going to see this card played in, I think, Warrior and Rogue.
But yeah, well, we can agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
Because at 1 health, anything kills it. It's not worth even putting. It is now infinitely worse than South Sea Deckhand because it doesn't have charge.
Yeah. So, you got something you want to add, Zara?
I think this is the charge. This is the change that I wanted. I think it still will be playable because while South Sea Deckhand will be better if you have a weapon, this card still is good if you don't have a weapon but plan to have a weapon the next turn. So, what are you chuckling about?
Oh, sorry, I was reading our chat, and Nosgad said if it were any saltier in here, it'd be Lot's wife.
Oh.
But I think this is a good change. And I think if they did anything more aggressive to this change, it would be a dead card. This is that nice balancing ground, and I'll talk more a little bit later. But I think there's not a lot of changes this nerf, but I think there will be more into March.
Yeah. All right. So the other change we're seeing is to Spirit Claws. So Spirit Claws was a 1-mana 1/3 weapon that got +2 attack if you have spell damage on the board. Now it's going to be a 2-mana 1/3 weapon that gets +2 with spell damage on the board. So everybody's like, oh no, this just destroys Spirit Claws. It's no longer playable. There was a lot of crying and weeping. So Versika, with you being our resident Shaman expert, what is your thought on the state of Spirit Claws post in the new 2-mana world?
I think it lessens its impact in aggro Shaman, but I think if anything, it may just, I don't know, it may impact mid-range a little bit, but with Overload already limiting your cost in the mid-range game, with the available mana to spend, I think it may actually make things a little smoother once you start playing the Overload cards, if you decide to go that route. I think the meta was already shifting for Shaman to go more of a Jade mid-range route. So I really don't know that this affects it that much. Boyd brings up that Rockbiter weapon is still unusable. I never stopped using Rockbiter weapon just because it went to 2 mana. It just made me have to prepare that turn a little bit better. I think what you will see is, I think you'll see a little more noticeable impact in those later game Shamans that they used Emperor Thaurissan. But I mean, you can still Farside into it. I think the mid range will suffer a little bit. I don't think Control Shaman used it at all. So I think your biggest impact will just be an aggro Shaman, which is something that I think they're trying to kind of tone down anyway. So I like this change. I think Spirit Claws was too powerful, especially in conjunction with Blood Mage Thanos. This makes that happen on turn 3 instead of turn 2.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm not sure that the one turn... Like, I think if you were just getting the Spirit Claws nerf and not the Small Time Buccaneer nerf, I don't know that Aggro Paladin or Aggro Shaman would take the hit that it's going to take. But with both the Small Time and the Spirit Claws nerf, I think you're going to see Aggro Shaman with the Pirate package kind of fall by the wayside.
Okay. Zerosho, anything you want to add?
This is a nerf I didn't expect. When I saw Spirit Claws, I was like, wow, okay, well, I didn't expect this nerf, but I like it. And I think both of these nerfs are going to affect Aggro Shaman, but it's not going to cripple mid-range or Jade Shaman. I think that mid-range game is still going to be strong. I think you might still see a one-of Spirit Claws. I know in my mid-range I run just a one-of anyways. Being able to turn 1 Spirit Claws and then turn 2 get a roll and be able to do 3 damage with that weapon, as well as having spell damage totem on the board, once you get that going, if you get that RNG, it's hard to slow it down. And this allows to slow down so those other decks have a little bit of time to not be punished so much in turns 1, 2, and 3 for their opponent getting super, good RNG. But later game, it's still usable.
So
it's still going to be usable turn 4 and above.
Yeah. So Cold and Ugly in chat says with the nerf to Small Time Buck as well, people might decide just not to use it. Do you think we could see maybe people dropping 1 copy of Spirit Claws and maybe adding back in a copy of Doomhammer?
Well, the Doomhammer, if they're trying to still do some form of aggressive Shaman, I don't know if I guess you could run Doomhammer, but you want to win those games by turn 5 anyways, or turn 6. So I don't know if Doomhammer is really the answer other than just a 4 damage finisher, and there's so many of those for 4 mana in Shaman.
Okay. Rasika, you have that's either your I'm thinking face or your I'm constipated face. I can't really tell them apart.
No. I was just trying to think of, Doomhammer is a slower alternative because really if you're looking for burst damage out of Shaman, you're going to have to pair Doomhammer with Rockbiter, and I don't think that they're going to drop another card for a one-of each. I think if they're going to drop their one-of Spirit Claws, like most of the aggro Shaman deck lists that I've seen only run one-of Spirit Claws. If they decide to drop it, I think it will be more for something like a Lava Burst or something like that as a finisher.
Okay.
You may start to see Faceless or Behemoth come back in. Flame Wreath Faceless come back in.
You might see Argent Horse Riders and even Wolf Riders start to come back in because that benefit 4 charge that turn 3 will be needed to make up for the damage it's going to lose.
Gotcha.
I think with Argent Horse Rider on the way out, I think you're much more likely to see some kind of a mid-range, and I think people have been they kind of been playing around with Faceless Manipulator coming back into Shaman to take advantage of some of the mid to late game minions, especially the Flame Wreath. So yeah, if you're running if people are running 2 Spirit Claws, I could see them dropping and adding in like Leroy and Flame Wreath, or Flame Wreath and Faceless, or something along those lines. Something that gives them that it's either going to be really hard to remove, or it gives them that pop of damage that they're going to be missing from the early game Spirit Claws.
Okay, cool. Well, the other big change they announced with this patch is we're going to start to get ranked ladder breaks. So if you're familiar, when you hit rank 20, you can't lose back past that. The farthest you can go is 20. So now what we're going to get is we're going to get that at every 5 levels. So at rank 15, you can't lose past rank 15. Once you hit rank 10, you can't lose past 10. Once you hit 5, you can't lose past 5, which means once you've hit 5, it's just that fight from 5 to legend. You don't have to worry about getting tilted and going back to 6 or 7 or 8 and then having to fight your way back up. So
I went from 3 to 9 the month that I got legend.
Yeah, so for a player like me, who probably only gets to play 5-ish games a day, if I'm lucky, some days I don't play at all. Like today, I haven't gotten to play a single game today because I got off work, came straight home, and started prepping for the show. But this is big for me because if I get to 15, I don't have to worry about tilting back, and I can just concentrate on moving forward to the next tier. Hit 10, concentrate on moving forward, and try to improve. So this is really good for me. I've seen a lot of people, though, complaining that this isn't going to make any sort of difference whatsoever for players. I don't know that I agree with that. I think it's going to be a good thing overall. Zeroshio, you're our legend player. You've hit legend before. What are your thoughts on this?
The big thing is you're going to see more diverse decks at breakpoints now. It's not just going to always be the same decks because people at 5 can say, well, I want to try to counter the meta a little bit so they can be a little more creative, maybe try a new Hunter deck, try a new Paladin deck, and not feel like they're going to be punished if they go on a losing streak with it. I do like that effect of it. The one thing that wasn't addressed that I hope they eventually address is at the beginning of a month, all those legend players fall down to rank 15. All those players that just short of legend fall to 16. And you still get that crazy bottleneck at the beginning of the season. This isn't going to change that. And I really was hoping for something that would change that. Maybe those legend players only fall to rank 5. But I think this is a good start, and I'm excited for it.
All right, Rasika?
I kind of agree with what Zerochio said, especially with the first of the month changes. I think that is where I think that's the fastest way to the root problem of the ranked play, and that is that you have too many people at the beginning of the month trying to climb quickly to get out of all the craziness that is the first of the month. So I don't think this change impacts the first 10 days. I think you'll start to see things work itself out towards the end of the month, but by then for a lot of players it's almost too late because this is not going to affect diversity at the beginning of the month. Everyone is going to try to play the fastest, quickest deck to get up as far as they can, as fast as they can, and so that's not going to change. They were hoping for deck diversity. Deck diversity will happen, but it's going to happen the last 2 weeks. I like not being able to fall back, but once again, you're only really going to see that deck diversity at like 15 and 14 or 10 and 9 or 5 and 4 because once you get past that, you don't want to lose back down. So they're not going to experiment at that point anyway. They're trying to get to that next level where they're not going to fall back down. So they may play around at 15 for 1 or 2 ranks above the level where they hit that break, but after that it's just going to be the same.
Okay. So
yeah, and I want to throw out a Versika analogy here. The first of the month is like trying to use the restroom at halftime at an NFL stadium. Everybody's shoving, elbowing each other. If you're a guy, you're all staying at a giant trough. It just feels horrible. You just don't want to be there. You think, you know what? I'll wait until the second half starts and I'll hold it, That's how I feel. I'm just going to ignore the first 3 days, not play Hearthstone, just play Arena. And
that's an amazing analogy, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
He did. He channeled his inner Versika. Exactly like something I would say.
So,
excuse me. So, if you'll notice, like if you've been watching my streams, I haven't taken the first of the month seriously. Today today is the first day that I actually started climbing ladder. We're 15 days in. I never try and climb the first 15 days because it's just not any fun.
Yep.
Okay.
And I've stopped the ladder climb. We have DreamHack coming up this summer, and I'm wanting to focus more on tournament play and choosing decks for a best of 5 series and things like that. So I've been absorbing myself in the THL, that's Team Hearth League, and kind of playing those type of formats, some online tournaments, things like that. So I just don't have the desire to ladder grind anymore.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, those are the changes coming in patch 7.1 that we know about. Supposedly, this is going to hit the end of the month. We think it'll be after playoffs this weekend or next weekend, after the Asia Pacific playoffs.
If they do that, that means it'll be February 28th.
Yes. Yeah. Tuesday, February 28th. That's when we think it'll happen. All right.
Soon.
So, speaking of playoffs, this past weekend, the EU...
And here we go.
Here it comes.
The EU held their winter playoffs, and we got to see a lot of great Hearthstone.
Yes.
I wanna throw a shout out to our friend of the show, Tungdil. He hosted one of the locations over there and did a great job. And we saw some interesting decks come out. I'm just going to go ahead, and if you guys didn't watch it, you should. It was a lot of fun. But your 4 players who will be advancing from the EU, who punched their ticket to the Bahamas, are Green Sheep, Stan Udachi, Naria, and your EU winter champion, Pavel.
Yes. And this is the most dominant, I believe, we've seen. And we'll talk more about Pavel later in the show. This is the most dominant we've seen a former world champion be. Fireback came out the pipe in winners and didn't pull a lot of weight. Osaka tried to fire back and did really well. He firing back after BlizzCon, and he did well, but he just didn't. He just came up short in the winter. Pavel has come off of taking the world championship, and a lot of people have been saying that if you make it to BlizzCon, you shouldn't get as many points as you do going into winter playoffs because the meta's changed, and some people don't think it's fair. And Pavel got the benefit of getting the most amount of points, which I think was 50, and he qualified for winter playoffs, and it just dominated. Just, in my opinion, of course, there is a lot of controversy with him because he did get some RNG in his favor, and he did play cards that aren't necessarily favorable in the meta, but I believe that's just him just predicting how the meta is moving forward.
Yeah. All right, Versika. Unload both barrels. Let's hear what you got.
I loved it. I loved watching this weekend. I've been a Green Sheep fan since 2014. He was one of the first Hearthstone players that I followed on Twitter. I've followed his channel, which hasn't been super active, but I followed his channel as one of the first channels I followed when I created my Twitch account. So I was happy to see him back in and doing well. The player that I most enjoyed watching was Stan Udachi.
Yes.
And I loved his lineup. I loved that he brought Beneath the Ground Rogue, which was like near and dear to my heart. But so did Naria and Sajao, however you say that.
Show.
Yeah.
So he actually Show was running 2 Beneath the Grounds in his.
Mm-hmm.
But his use of Curse of Rafam
God, that was amazing.
To kill other Reno locks, I thought he played brilliantly. I thought Pavel did a great job. You guys know I'm a Pavel fan anyway. So for me, this was a really fun winter championship to watch. And Naria and Show, is that how you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Show won the first matchup in Swiss, and when they got to the single elimination, Naria came back and beat him. But they practiced against each other. They're on the same team, so that was a little unfortunate. But they both played really great Hearthstone. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching Hearthstone this weekend.
So
when I wasn't sick.
So you say you're a Pavel fan, eh?
Yeah. And here
Are we talking about this? Are we talking about
You know
this?
who's not a Pavel fan?
Yeah.
That would be Amnesiac, the young savage. So yeah,
Okay, first,
I think we need to
know
talk about this. So
I know we have Amnesiac fans out there, and I know we have a lot of people that are on this. Before we get into our opinions of what was said and talk about what was said, I love the fact that there is this kind of drama in the esport for Hearthstone. We haven't really had it so much. A lot of the drama we've had has been around whether people are cheating or are not doing something fairly or gaming the system. Never have we really had true rivalries. I think the closest would be the Firebat and Archon thing, and that blew over so quickly that it wasn't really anything. Go ahead and tell us the details of what happened between Amnesiac and Pavel.
all right, so at 11 a.m. on what was it, Saturday, Amnesiac sends out a Twitter message that says, "I hope Pavel high rolls his way back to the Bahamas. I want to wipe that grin off his face myself." And everybody just starts blowing up Twitter. Like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Frodan is one of the first to be like, I'm so glad trash talk isn't a lost art in Hearthstone,
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, trash talk is good. That's good. But he didn't stop there. Had he stopped there, it would have been like, oh cool, we're going to have a rivalry. But Amnesiac kept going. He was, the next day, on Sunday, you can tell as he's watching the event because the tweets continue to roll out. He says, why not miss Lethal as Pirate Warrior when you can just 1-3 the Dirty Rat into the skill-based control mirror? And then his next one says, oh, he banned Rogue on purpose and won. I don't know anymore, man. Maybe I should just ban wrong and miss Lethal so Blizzard likes me. And then his next tweet says, I think I get it, though. He's proof that literally anyone can win at Hearthstone. He's Blizzard's ideal example of what they want. And then his next tweet says, watching that series as a competitive player, knowing that he actually just threw away percentage for no reason is so frustrating. His next tweet says, last year he worked hard to make last call. Then he banned wrong and brought bad decks throughout 3 tournaments, but won anyway. This year, he just free-rolled into prelims, brought bad decks, banned wrong, and still got there. So, you can tell he was pretty salty. I don't know if... And it's tough to say without actually talking to Amnesiac. All we have to go on are these tweets and the reactions of the community. But it's...
I will say this. This is confirmation that he has enrolled in the Shaquille O'Neal night class of trash talking. I guarantee you, Shaq has been like, hey boy, Young Savage, come over here. I'm going to call you Young Savage from now on, so tell everybody you're Young Savage. Find the first person that annoys you, and here's a list of trash talk rules. Just let it go.
Yeah,
because this is right out of sports rivalry. I love it. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what he said.
Well,
but I love that he has this passion.
DeSharmo in chat brings up a good point. Not at one time during any of that does he insult his race or his ethnicity. He just insults his gameplay. And Amnesiac has the skill to back up his claims. So, yesterday, I think, Amnesiac sends out another tweet with his 4 deck lists for playoffs this week, and it says, "Well, I guess it's time to back up my talk." I'm not going to actually say what he said, but he says it's time to back up my talk, and he posts his deck list.
That's the one thing is, if he does all this and doesn't make the Bahamas, oh my gosh, he's going to be the laughing stock on Twitter. But if he backs it up and goes to the Bahamas, this is going to be the greatest rivalry in Hearthstone.
Nosgad's killing me tonight. He says the Dead Sea is going to be the second saltiest place on Earth next to Amnesiac's gaming chair. So,
yep.
All right. So this weekend is the NA Winter Playoffs.
Wait, we're not going to let Versika talk about it?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Versika, what are your thoughts on this whole thing and Amnesiac's chances this weekend?
Well, first of all, you guys know I'm a Pavel fan. I don't have a problem with Amnesiac getting salty about losing to Pavel last year. And, he even came out, and my boy Savitz actually retweeted an older tweet where Amnesiac came out and said that anyone talking crap about Pavel just needs to shut up. He played to his outs or whatever, and he's a solid player. So I don't know
Savitz,
what happened.
No, you're glossing over it. Savitz literally just drops a Twitter bomb and walks away. He doesn't say anything else on Twitter.
I know. I'm trying to stay on topic. I don't want to fanboy over Savitz. He's not in the conversation. But no. So a year has passed. I'm sure it's gotten harder to handle. Like, you're being a sportsman. You didn't want to lose to what some people consider RNG. I get it. But, I watched this, and as a spectator, I felt like Pavel brought decks that were not necessarily mainstream meta. And for me, I love that because it shows strategy. It shows knowledge of the game beyond just taking someone else's deck list and practicing it 300 times a week and getting so good at it that you can do it in your sleep. Because to me, that's unimaginative, and you can still be very strategic with it, and you can still play it well, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you understand the overall three-dimensional concept that is Hearthstone. So what I saw in Pavel's play, and him, he didn't want to play against Rogue because that was his weakest matchup. So he banned Rogue. He won. How can you say that's a bad call?
Yep.
I mean, how can you? I don't get a lot of what he's saying. But before everyone goes out and trashes him, you have to remember that, number one, he's young, and he is not exactly a normal kid. I mean, his battle with ADHD is well known, and usually with that comes a certain amount of social awkwardness. And when you are thrust into the limelight of being a pro Hearthstone player, sometimes you can lose your cool, and adults do it too. You can lose your cool and you can say some things, and once you get started, it is so hard. I see adults struggle with it just as much as kids. You start on a tirade, and you feel justified when you start, and by the end of it, you don't even remember why you got angry to begin with. That being said, I don't think he ran into that problem. He's obviously still angry, but I don't even think he knows exactly what he's angry about, because everything that he was calling out Pavel for doing looked like smart play to me. So his chances to make it through the prelims in Americas with the deck list, if he's playing the deck list that he put out there, I think his chances are 50-50 because it's the same stuff everybody else is playing. So I don't see any innovation. I don't see anything that's going to be a speed bump for anybody else. And that just means that it's going to be what he draws compared to what his opponent draws, and I can't say that even as good as he is, he's got a better chance than anyone else he's playing against, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I looked at those deck lists and I saw zero innovation.
Okay. All right. So, Zeroshio, say he doesn't make it to championships. Is championships going to be that much more boring?
I'm excited for championships no matter what. They're changing the format this year. I think it's going to be exciting because we're not just going to get, one from each region. We're going to decide the champion of the world per season, not just for the end of the year. So that's going to be exciting. But I'd be amiss if I said that if that rivalry wasn't there, that let's just say if he makes it to the Bahamas, I will move my schedule around to make sure I watch this event.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make it to the Bahamas, I will still watch it as long as I don't have anything major in my life going on, and I'll make time and can make time for it. But this will be like watching a sports event on the weekend. If it's just a regular event, we'll say with the Bears and the Lions, I'll probably watch it. It's a divisional match. But if it's Bears versus Packers, I'm going to make sure no matter what I do, I'm going to watch that game because that is a rivalry game, and I want to see those rivalries. And it's even better that it's EU versus NA because you're going to have two different regions in the rivalry, and I really like that.
4 regions in the rivalry.
Yes, but that rivalry is going to involve a player from
Pavel
EU
and
a player from NA.
Amnesiac. Yeah, I know. It's going to be great.
And I think he has what it takes to back it up. Amnesiac's shown he's a top-notch player. I hope at the end of this, it's a learning experience no matter which way it goes.
Yeah. So Matt at Arms in chat says we could have a chance to see how it plays out this weekend because Blizzard released the deck lists for this weekend, and Firebat actually is bringing Pavel's exact lineup.
Yeah.
From this past weekend. So if Amnesiac and Firebat were to get matched up, it could be a lot of fun to watch.
I'll tell you now, it drives me nuts when people say somebody's a bad player for making a call on a card in a deck or a ban. My experience, I was in THL this past weekend, and I banned Priest, and it was very questionable. A lot of people through the Discord and on the live stream were like, well, you banned Priest. Well, why would you ban Priest? Well, it's what I felt was my weakest deck to combat. So even though it's not in the meta to ban Priest, I banned Priest because it gave me a better chance of winning against the other decks, winning with my decks. And sure enough, I took the Series 3-0. So sometimes, and that's another thing, like streamers like Raynad, and I'm just going to say Raynad because I don't want to drag anybody else in it. He's salty. We'll see a play with an odd card that's not normally in the deck, and all they'll do is rant on how it's you're a terrible player for putting that card in the deck. Why would you even do that? And then they win. Then that player beats them. They never give them justification of going, well, at least you beat me. At least you can say that. I was like, they're so stupid for playing that card. It's a horrible card.
RDU's bad about that too.
Yeah. How are we going to expect the meta to change if we don't allow people to innovate without chastising them? Mm-hmm. And what Pavel did is he innovated on the meta. And I give him props for it. Now, What's funny is he'll be the only person, or maybe there's somebody else in the EU tournament. I think Standard Dachi made some similar decisions in his deck lineups. And people chastise him over it, and then you're going to go to NA and you're going to see those same decisions, and everybody's going to say, well, this is great because Pavel did it, and now all of a sudden it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. So speaking of NA, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the NA winter playoffs are happening. So guys, I want to tell you, if you are within the sound of my voice and you are in the NA region, do yourself a favor. Try to make it to one of the locations this weekend. There's going to be a lot of great Hearthstone to be played, a lot of good fireside gatherings being held this weekend. There's going to be viewing parties to watch the playoffs, and a lot of your favorite pros are going to be at these venues. So let me give you a quick rundown of where you can go to participate. The following locations are all going to be hosting playoffs this weekend. Indianapolis, Indiana, Wallingford, Connecticut, Seattle, Washington, Santa Ana, California, Fairfax, Virginia, Mesa, Arizona. Come hang out with us in Knoxville. Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois. Go hang out in Orlando and say hi to the innkeeper Amy and her assistant innkeeper Garrett Weinzerl. Go to Salt Lake City, Utah, Toronto, Canada, Montreal, Quebec, Cartago, Costa Rica, Lima, Peru, Cali, Colombia, Quito, Ecuador, Santiago, Chile, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Brasilia, Brazil. Any of those locations, you will be able to participate in some awesome firesides. You'll be able to earn some awesome loot, like the Hearthstone Cupcake lapel pins. You'll be able to earn loot like the Arena keychain bottle openers. There's going to be pop figures like Thrall and Murlocs. There's going to be all kinds of great things that you can get by playing and winning. There's just going to be a lot of great Hearthstone going on this weekend.
Okay, can we go back a second and acknowledge that Avanti's pronounced those South American locations correctly? I am proud of you, my friend. I am proud of you. You must have practiced many hours.
I did actually. I did. Go ahead, Versika.
He can get those right, but can't pronounce Cabal equally on correctly on a consistent basis.
He's got me calling it Cobble.
All right, so yeah, go support your local playoff locations. Say hi to the innkeepers. They do a lot of hard work to put these events on for you guys. So go hang out with them, introduce yourselves, tell them Avanti's, Versika, and Zeroshio from Hero Power sent you, and go have some fun.
Okay. And get the Power Core card back.
Get the Power Core card back if you don't have it. That is something else you'll get. All right. There was another tournament this week. It was a charity event for Child's Play held by Kingwin. It was strike format.
Yes.
Zeroshio, who won it?
Pavel goes and wins Kingwin. Now there were some really good playing there. Eloise did really well. A lot of your pro players came in to support this charity. Kingwin does it every year. It's neat that they're trying out these new formats, but Pavel goes and just dominates the tournament right after winning the EU playoffs. I'm flabbergasted. And again, Twitter blew up, and some of that was directed at Amnesiac. That he got lucky and made bad decisions at the winter playoffs, but then he turns around and wins another tournament in a totally different format. So it wasn't even like he used the exact same game plan, because strike format is totally different than Conquest.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I didn't get to watch that event. I'll have to go back and see if I can find the VOD for it. So I heard about it, but
you go back and try to find the VOD for it. But in the end, it's more of the same. It's Pavel's play style, and until somebody just handily beats him for making some of the decisions that he makes, I think everybody just needs to just chill out.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that brings us to the Hearthstone Global Games, which were also announced recently. Did we touch on this a little bit last week? I think
we might have talked about it, but they've actually put out a little more details on that. We have a link in the show notes.
Yeah. If you're not familiar, basically it's going to celebrate your nation's local heroes as they play to represent your country. The inaugural Hearthstone Global Games will feature teams from 48 countries who will duke it out in an online international tavern to determine who makes it to face off at live events later this year. So this kind of reminds me of what Overwatch did, where they had the national teams come and compete. So go ahead and tell us a little more about it, Zeroshio.
Basically, what you have is you have 24 different countries that are going to be represented in this, and the captain is going to be the highest points earner for that region via HCT points. And then the other 3 players on the team are going to be decided by the community in a community vote. They've done this before in other, I think it was a Heroes of the Storm they did this for, and it was real popular. The team format of Hearthstone is really starting to get big with the Collegiate TESPA series and the Trinity series. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. There is a little bit of controversy and drama with one of the regions. Germany, I can't remember who the team I think it might be Super JJ was announced as the team captain, of course, life coach. And I, for the life of me, can't remember the other pro player that was announced on the team. But one of the community voted members of the team was one of my favorite streamers, Ponyhoff. And when he was announced, the other members of Team Germany said they're not going to do it.
Okay.
Because there's a little bit of if people remember the drama from the Masan days of Masan viewbotting, this is kind of Hearthstone's version of the steroid scandals, the steroid reports that Major League Baseball had. In that list of people being accused of viewbotting on Twitch, Ponyhoff was one of them. Whether that was true or not true, that's nobody really know at this point. But the other players believe it enough to not want to play with him. I don't know if there's been an amicable resolution yet. I guess we'll just have to find out when the global games happen.
Okay. Rasika, anything you want to add?
Nope, I don't have a dog in that race.
All right. So, that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is Blood Magic. How much are you willing to sacrifice for power? All your spells will cost health instead of mana. So this is an interesting little twist. I've not actually gotten to play it yet, but Zeroshio, why don't you tell us about it?
This is so much fun. I actually had a Druid quest, and I thought, let me just throw together a Druid deck, and went Egg Druid. Getting just one cost minion out on turn 1, along with Living Roots and anything else that summons minions, and then the buffing stuff. I literally had like 4 minions on the board on turn 1 that were 3/3 or 2/2 and above. Got a lot of turn 2 concedes. This is a lot of fun. The one thing I wanted to point out, though, is they actually made a special animation. Instead of the mana symbol, it has a health symbol, and it glows a little bit. It shows how much health you're going to lose. I'm wondering, once again, if maybe they're testing something out for a new type of effect or ability with the next set that's coming out. The rumors are that it's Ungoro themed, and Ungoro has a lot of very savage, aggressive things. Maybe we're going to see some neutral spells that do this? I don't know.
All right. Versika, you had a chance to play around with it yet?
Yeah, actually, it was funny. I came home, I logged in, and Matt at Arms was like instant in there spectating. And I was playing a Burn Mage, and lost my first game, won my second game. I hadn't been back in since then. I'm going to play around with it a little bit more. Like Zeroshia, I think this is probably a mechanic that's coming. And, Angora is not that far away from Gadget Zan. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to see a little bit of Gadget Zan interaction, especially with the three factions. So I think this would be a really cool feature for the Cabal across the board. Let Mage, Warlock, and Priest do a little bit of damage to themselves to put out some spells and see what that could do.
Okay. So, kind of talking on that, Ungoro is right next to Teneris, which is where Gadget Zan is. The League of Explorers had a lot of Oldham-themed stuff, which is just south of Teneris. When are we going to get our Caverns of Time? I know we have Nozdormu as a card, but I'd love a Caverns of Time themed expansion. I don't think you can fit it into an adventure. There's too much going on.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think we'll see a Caverns of Time anytime soon. Maybe in the future, but
yeah. It'd be great as an expansion.
Maybe they
I don't know. I think you could probably fit it into adventure. Nobody thought they could fit Karazhan into an adventure either.
You did. You called it back in like May.
Well, besides me, but everyone thought I was crazy when I said it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think on Realm Maintenance, the part that didn't get aired is Ro mentioning that, he'd love to see it, but he's pretty sure it's too much to do. And Crow.
All right.
Crow.
Let's talk about this week's deck. This week's deck is brought to us by fellow podcaster and good friend of the show, Cora. So unfortunately, we've tried to get Cora on the show, and with her schedule being as crazy as it is casting, she's casting the HCT this weekend, and then she's turning around and casting the TESPA on Monday, followed by the HCT next weekend, and TESPA the weekend after, or the Monday after that. So it's just been really crazy. But this deck she was playing recently on her stream, and it's a lot of fun. It's a kind of a standard Devolve Jade Shaman, and I love the Devolve tech in this. So I'm going to run down the deck list, and then I'm going to turn it over to Versika to talk about it a little bit. So it's 1 Patches, 2 Small Time Buccaneers, 1 South Sea Deckhand, 2 Spirit Claws pre-nerf, 1 Blood Mage Thalnos, 1 Devolve, 2 Flame Tongue Totems, 2 Jade Claws, 2 Maelstrom Portals, 1 Brand Bronzebeard, 2 Hex, 2 Mana Tide Totem, 2 Jade Lightning, 2 Jade Spirit, 2 Jinyu Water Speaker, 2 Azure Drake, Aya Blackpaw, and 2 Jade Chieftains. All right, Versika, take it away.
Well, first of all, I want to say I feel dirty when I play this deck because it's got Patches and Small Time Buccaneer in it. But for the good of the show, right?
That's right.
No, I think overall it's a consistently it is a consistent performer deck. Most of the time, it will do what it's supposed to do. That being said, when this deck draws dead, it draws dead. I mean, there are some games that you just cannot seem to get things to work right. So it has to go in order, and you only have 1 Devolve, and you only have 2 Maelstrom Portals. So you have a very small amount of board clear. So we're playing the deck for integrity's sake, exactly like she plays it. But when I played my version, not the version we're playing on the show tonight, but my version of the deck actually drops the Small Time Buccaneers and puts in 2 Lightning Storms. So I only have South Sea Deckhand and Patches, but I usually just use them in conjunction with Flame Tongue Totem to clear anyway. But yeah, it's a good deck. The Jade is surprisingly potent as you get towards the end. I know everyone likes to run up the big 8/8 and 9/9 Jades, but you'd be surprised how much damage you can do with 4/4 and 5/5 Jade Golems. And the other good part about this deck is most of it stays intact, even after the nerf and even after the rotation. You only lose Brand Bronzebeard in the rotation. And as far as the nerf goes, post nerf this deck, I'm taking out Small Time Buccaneers, both of them. I'm adding a South Sea deckhand, taking out a Spirit Claws, and adding in 2 Lightning Storms. And I think this thing is going to be a solid performer in the new meta as well.
Okay, awesome. Zerocho, is there anything you want to add before we move on to our final thoughts?
Yeah. If you're a big follower of Sage Cora on Twitch, there's actually been a rather large variations in this Shaman deck. At one point, it started out as an Evolve style Shaman, which actually I used to get Golden Shaman, and it's slowly become more aggressive to, kind of counter the meta a bit. She is a wonderful player, caster. She gets legend pretty much every season. If you haven't followed her over on Twitch at Sage Cora, you should. She isn't streaming a lot right now because of her TESPA schedule for her casting, but she will be back to streaming more often when that's done. I love this deck. I do also like to slow it down a little bit, like Versika said. I actually like the Evolve version of this a little bit better. I took out the Pirate package completely and have pretty much its mid-range Jade with Evolve and Devolve. Now, Devolve wrecks Rogue. The best thing to do is time it for when they put out. Don't do it when they use Auctioneer. Wait until after they get their Auctioneer turn. They throw down a bunch of huge questings and Edwin and conceal them. Then Devolve, and they will usually concede.
Yep. I watched her devolve into concede quite a few times. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I'm excited. I always love to see how these decks perform each week. So before we jump into that, let's talk about our final thoughts. I know what Versika is going to talk about, so Zerocio, we'll start with you.
We talked about it last week, and it actually went live this past Tuesday. You can now do your Friendly Feud, which is your daily quest in Hearthstone. You can do with friends. It lines up perfectly with the North America Winter Playoffs. So if you're going to one of the Fireside Gatherings, get your quest queued up and do some of the side events and complete your quests that way. It's a lot of fun. The only other thought I have is I should have my wife's Viforce computer by the end of the week, and I can't wait to get that set up for her, and we'll talk more about that when we do our next Viforce promo in the second half of the show.
All right, Versika.
All right, so I was actually asked about blog post again. Since moving over to my new machine, I actually haven't gone in and changed or reset my password into the portal that I use to post my blog post. That being said, I have a few that are waiting to be posted. Those are going to start showing up at regular intervals. They're written. We just got to put them out. They're not meta specific, so I was able to hold them back because the first blog post that it's going to be kind of the start of this run is about a Hero Power Patron League and the Hero Power tournament. I've been spending a lot of time looking at brackets, how to try to make the pairings as fair as possible. With Hero Power Patron League, not knowing when the playoffs are supposed to happen, not knowing when we're going to have Tavern Hero qualifiers, the rule set, making sure that it all lines up in a way that makes it enjoyable for everybody, has been a little more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. That being said, they're almost finished, and I'm going to be able, the blog post that's going to come out is going to be able to walk you through what's going to happen as far as all the pairings go for the Hero Power Invitational and all of the Hero Power Patron League. Now, that being said, the Hero Power Patron League, once it starts, no new members are going to be added. So the Hero Power Patron League, the way that I've got it set up right now, will run for 12 weeks. So for 12 weeks, once we start the league, those pairings you're going to be paired up for 12 weeks. That makes sure everybody plays everybody at least once, and it allows the top few places a chance to kind of rumble with each other to see who shakes out at the top. So once I have everything set out, we'll all three sit down, we'll take a look at it and make any changes that need to happen, and then we'll push it out. So more than likely, this is the Hero Power Patron League will start over the summer months. This is going to be when we feel like there is going to be time to do it, because a lot of people will be out of school. Things kind of slow down a little bit in the summer, but more than anything, that's the biggest break in the HTT stuff. So,
yeah.
As of right now, it looks like that is how it's going to lay out. That also gives us time to get everything ready and figure out what we're going to be doing. It gives Avanti's time to set up the casting stuff for the matches that we're going to cast, and it's a big undertaking. We appreciate the patience, but it's one of those things that we want to make sure that we do it right, and I want to make sure that once everything is laid out, that Zavantes, once Zeroshio and Avantes both have their input into it as well.
Yeah. So, somebody, Confish in chat just asked, is this going to be part of the next tourney? No, this is going to be separate. The next Hero Power Patron Invitational is going to take place mid to late April. We're waiting on the THQ schedule to know exactly when to schedule that. So, see, February, March, April. Yeah, it'll be late April, mid to late April. So, we'll let you guys know as soon as we know more on that. So,
right. All right. We're just wanting to assure everybody we're doing our due diligence to make sure that this first run is as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
But if you want to be part of all this, the tournaments, the HPPL, which is the Hero Power Patron League, you got to be a patron.
Yes.
That's right.
So get it in.
Yeah. Go check out patreon.com/heropower. You can become a patron and hang out with us in Discord and on our Facebook page for as little as $1 a month. To participate, to be guaranteed a spot in the tournaments and everything. It's a minimum of $5 a month. We're also doing a monthly giveaway where we're giving out awesome prizes. Again, that's for our $5 and up patrons. And for every $5 that you patron beyond $5, you get an additional drawing in each monthly giveaway. So if you're a $10 patron, you get two drawings. If you're a $15 patron, you get 3 chances. $20 patron, 4. So there's awesome benefits to being a patron. Go check it out. Patreon.com/HeroPower. And that's going to do it for our audio show this week. So if you guys are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via that audio podcast I just talked about, we would like to thank you for joining us at this time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to support and improve it, or join us in any of the awesome things we just talked about, again, you can do that at patreon.com/HeroPower. And as always, we'll see you again next Monday, not Wednesday.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Stay salty, my friends.
Especially Amnesiac.
All right, guys. So while we're getting this set up, Zeroshio, I guess you're going to tell us a little more about Viforce this time, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experience with Viforce. We're at the very end stages of the buying process. I have my wife's new computer picked out, lined up. I sent them the exact details, and they verified with an invoice so I could see exactly list by list everything I'm getting for the price. And I quickly confirmed that with them, and literally within a matter of less than half an hour, I got a response back with a link that takes me right to the purchasing of the computer. I placed the order, and that was last Friday. And I got a message on Sunday saying that the parts are in, being assembled, and I should have it by the end of the week. I have never dealt with a custom PC builder that has responded so quickly with such a quick turnaround. I thought this would actually be the lengthy part. That's why I tried to rush through all the details and getting everything perfect so that once I was able to get them the money, I could wait another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and finally get it. No, they have told me I should have it by the end of the week, and I'm super excited. So you can go over and check them out. If you go to our website, herepowerhs.com, click on the Viforce link. It'll take you right to their site. You can look at all of their products and see what's best for you. And that's over at viforcegaming.com.
All right, Versika, you ready to pilot this thing?
Yep, I'm queuing in now.
All right, let me know when you're ready, and I will spectate.
Searching for a worthy opponent. It'll be hard to find one.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
So first up, we have a Paladin.
They've been on the rise lately. Paladin's been very popular because of Trinity
So
series.
what are you looking for in your opening hand here? Obviously small-time Buccaneer, but...
Not this.
Yeah, so our opening hand is Jade Spirit, Jade Claws, and Azure Drake.
The only way that I keep the Jade Spirit here is if I've got the coin. Since I don't have the coin, I'm probably not going to keep Jade Spirit. You at least want to pair one of your Jade minions or claws with Bran, and you usually don't want it to be the Guardian. So I'll probably pitch back the Spirit and Azure Drake. There's no reason to keep the Azure Drake in the opening hand, so Jade Claws would be the only card to keep. And now you just hope that you don't get patches. But if you do get patches, you just wait for Flame Tongue Totem and use him as a clear.
Oh, small time. In the EU Winter Playoffs, patches was in the hand more than it was in the deck.
Yeah, he did not want to be shot out of the cannon.
Yeah, they said 69% of the time it was either in the opening hand or drawn before a pirate was played.
Yeah.
So turn one, we dropped the small time, got patches, hit face. His turn one, he played Sir Finley.
Finley.
And
wow, this is a weird build.
And took the Fire Blast. So turn two, we're going to play Jade Claws.
And we're going to go to face. We'll force him to clear.
We're not going to clear it?
Nope.
Red Rover, send them all over.
I wonder if this is a aggressive hand, but Loot Hoarder. This is a weird deck. I'm surprised he didn't try to kill the Buccaneer that turn, but he wants his card draw. This is probably a hand buff deck. I'd say it's aggressive with Sir Finley in it, but I don't know. This is weird. Gorgeous.
Yep. Just going to keep going across, try to put him so far behind that he doesn't really have the chance to start buffing that hand.
We for those that might have missed it, we drew into South Sea deckhand and just continued to go face.
And he coined into Consecrate.
But that's okay. I actually ended up getting more damage in on him than what I expected.
Oh, that is a
Maelstrom Portal.
That is a Blood Mage into a Maelstrom Portal for a clear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it gives
Is that what we're going to do this turn?
No, it gives him the card draw he's really looking for. I think, honestly, I think here Mana Tide Totem is the better play.
You think we're gonna have a better option for the Blood Mage if you get some buffed out minions or something?
Yeah,
This couldn't possibly be Control Paladin with Finley, could it?
not going with Fire Blast.
Maybe he didn't get anything good. I don't know.
Maybe. But I can't, I mean, I would imagine he would have at least, well, no, you're right. It's kind of a neutral. See, now I feel like I could clear that if I wanted because I've got Devolve. Now I'm not scared of what he can buff in his hand.
And Maelstrom Portal's great with Devolve. Do you think we'd rather devolve the Maelstrom Portal to deny him draw? Or is it too soon for that? I mean, we have the hacks.
I mean, you can make the play for that.
Because those loot hoarders are going to turn into wisps.
Yeah. Well, Sir Finley will too.
Yeah, well, no, the loot hoarders won't turn into wisps. I'm sorry, Finley will turn into wisps. Loot hoarders,
I mean,
they may be out. They may be outside of Maelstrom range. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Matt at Arms in chat says, just from what he's seen of this paladin so far, it kind of feels like Kalento's hand buff list.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I think denying the draw is important.
You think enough to devolve?
See, that's why I like to run 2 Devolves in this list, because you really only have one shot at it. If you screw it up, it's done.
Well, make a call.
Yeah, we'll Devolve into Maelstrom Portal.
Oh, we got perfect things to Maelstrom Portal. Great. I was worried we get like injured Cavaldir, which is a 2/4.
Reliquary Seeker is what we got off the draw.
Wow. Aya's not bad.
No. Aya is going to hit the board and give us our first Jade. That'll get
Second
cleared
Jade.
by
Second Jade.
second Jade. It'll get cleared by the Stampeding Kodo and give us our 3rd Jade.
And here comes the hand buff. We've denied him 2 cards into the hand buff, so that's good.
What do you think about Brand Jade Spirit?
I think that's the call.
Yeah, I think that.
Question is, do we clear anything on this board?
I think you probably should.
Yeah,
Do we clear
at
the
least need to
1/1
clear
and
one.
keep it up, or clear one of the 3/2s? Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
clear the 3/2.
Yeah.
With 1 consecration down, this puts us in a really good spot.
He'll have to clear Brand, which he'll use the silver for, and then he'll probably clear the 4/4 with the 2 minions, or
Well,
he'll
he
just
does
clear the
have Fire
5/5.
Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. This allows him to clear the 4/4 next turn.
No.
I'd love to get a
Oh,
chieftain.
okay.
Oh, wow. That's greedy. Does that mean that
Wait a minute. I've got lethal.
Depending on what is...
as long as that's not
I'd run the
get down.
2/3 in first.
Yeah, that's probably what's the one that gives 1+1/+1 to everything?
Oh, Competitive Spirit? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's competitive spirit. It's got to be competitive spirit. That's why he didn't clear with his minions. He was hoping to get them buffed.
Right, and that's
He
when
saw
he
you were
la-
aggressive.
when he laid. Well, he was a paladin, so I immediately figured that he was either hand buff or control paladin, and you're not really playing a lot of control paladin at rank 17, so I was banking on hand buff.
It was mentioned in chat by Nibble Swap that you are an aggressive deck. Why are you going all face? This deck is flexible enough that if you need to take an aggressive line, you can. But in a lot of cases, it plays like a mid-range deck.
So, Tempo
Maelstrom Portal
Mages,
doesn't have a lot of value.
right? Tempo Mages have been making a comeback.
Yeah.
There is a small amount of value in keeping Maelstrom Portal and Blood Mage, but Jade Claws is just as effective at clearing out Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Gotcha.
The problem with throwing back Blood Mage and Maelstrom is there is a chance you will draw patches. But once again, this deck, it's not super important to get patches out of the cannon, so I'm not scared of that. I think throwing back Blood Mage and Maelstrom is smart here and keeping Jade Claws.
Okay.
Yeah. If we had the coin, I'd like to keep Maelstrom and Blood Mage just for the chance of Sorcerer's Apprentice followed up with Mirror Images.
So we ended up drawing Small Time Buccaneer and Mana Tide Totem, and then drew into Flame Tongue Totem. So not a bad start.
No, not bad at all. We'll have a decision to make next turn if he doesn't clear this. Whether we want a Flame Tongue or we want to Jade Claws.
Oh, I think we definitely Flame Tongue now.
Well,
I think you definitely Flame Tongue now too, because you can run patches in to kill the Mana Worm.
Yep.
yeah, my thought was keeping both of our minions alive. Well, no, I guess you can't do that now that they buffed up the
Correct.
Mana Worm. Yeah,
Correct.
with the coin. That's fair. That's fair.
He's just going to kill patches with the Fire Blast next turn if we don't use him to clear.
That's true. And we went face there just to make him use the mana on his hero power.
Correct. It negates his turn. I basically get to go again at the cost of a Small Time Buccaneer.
Yeah.
So Mana Tide here.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the mana type. The Jade Claws is tempting, but to develop the Jades, but
But it would just be a 1/1 that's going to die to Fire Blast.
that's,
Right.
that's
Which, I mean,
true.
it eats up his mana for the turn, so that wouldn't
And
be
I
a
would rather
bad
him
thing.
have to choose between
Huh?
Frost Bolting
Oh, it's a
one of these two.
secret mage. Somebody
Look
watched
at
for
that.
somebody watched Versika's stream on Monday.
How about that? Okay, so there's two ways to do this. We can try and Jade Lightning. That's one way.
Punished for counterspell or
Punished
spellbind.
for counterspell. So if we Jade Claws, we at least get the Jade Claws. And we can try and Maelstrom Portal, which doesn't have a lot of
Finish it off.
value to finish it off.
I like
And
that.
I think
Hey,
Jade
that's what I was
Claws-
thinking. And if it gets counterspelled, it's exactly.
Yeah.
Do we just go ahead and go face and let him do the clears?
Oh yeah.
Because he's probably going to clear the Flame Tongue.
He'll clear the Flame Tongue and Fire Blast, so there's no point in running into the mage. So
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think we can hold it. Use it
Two
for
to face.
mirror images.
yeah,
Finishing
Yeah, I think-
off Flame Waker.
I don't hate two to face.
I don't either, but it's
Yeah.
it's the Flame Waker value
Yes.
that has me thinking to hold off on it.
Okay, he's going to conserve,
He's gonna go for the full clear here.
which isn't bad. We'll get value out of Jade Lightning.
Yes. So we'll use Jade Lightning to start to develop.
And look at that. We got Aya. We got Jade Chieftain. We'll be able to do Aya next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So Aya's next turn, we won't be casting a weapon. And then on turn, if we draw into our other Jade Claws, that's a good cast along with Azure Drake.
Okay.
And we have Aya to trade. And we also have the Jinyu that we can put on the board if we want to trade. That takes us into turn 7. We can also Jade Chieftain if we need to. I think two to face here is good.
Oh, I don't hate that.
This person really did watch my stream.
Kinky Pinky. Oh, goodness. I just realized.
Thanks for
Never
tuning
mind.
in, Kinky Pinky.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and and continue to go face.
Okay.
Now, if he's
I like
running
it.
Blizzard, he may Blizzard here. But my bet is he tries to take out.
All the Seekers. I have not seen a Crystal Runner build. I kind of like that. The Cabal Crystal Runner.
Somebody wasn't paying attention to the stream Monday.
No,
No,
I
I
was
tried to
not.
make her. I tried to make her work.
I was in bed sick.
Hmm.
So do we clear her with Aya to get a larger taunt for the Jade Chieftain? Or do we clear one of the other minions?
I wouldn't necessarily hate running Aya into the 5/3.
I don't necessarily hate running her into the 5/3, but I've got Jinyu, so I'm not worried about damage. I am concerned about the secret, and I'd much rather run her into a Vaporize because I get punished less for running her
Okay.
into Vaporize than anyone else.
That's fair.
So at least I can remove that as a suspect.
That's fair. I don't hate that.
The reason that I'm thinking that is because he didn't clear her.
Yeah.
So to me, that reads as Ice Barrier or Vaporize.
I'd run her in, then throw down Jade Chieftain.
Yeah.
Good call.
Wow. Good call, Versika.
You know this deck well.
I built it.
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
so-
That's really funny.
Yeah, now if someone knows, if someone plays Handlock, then we definitely know that somebody's been paying attention. Or if they come out with Reno Dragon Cthulhu, which I also played on Monday night.
There's another Cabal
Wow.
runner.
They are loading up the board. And this is where you miss the lightning storm.
Okay, so I think there's value here in hexing the runner after we clear the Azure Drake and then rolling for
A heal totem.
totem. and
Do we roll
Jinyu.
first?
I think we Jinyu.
We can't hex
Instead of
Jinyu
Berserk.
and roll.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
that's
I'm
9 mana.
rethinking. Instead of rolling, I think we Jinyu and replace the health of our chieftain. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm at 30 health. I feel like I can spare one Jinyu into keeping him
I
on
don't
board.
I don't hate the heal on that. I like it. How many more secrets would they have?
He should be running either barrier or block. So this is an easy clear. Use the Jinyu on the Hexed Toad. Play the Azure Drake. Draw into Spirit Claws. Play the Spirit Claws. Clear the Mana Worm. Roll the Totem.
Nice. And he's down to 1 card and at 18 health.
Yep. We'll brand into Jade Chieftain this next turn, and that
There's the
should
Blizzard.
pretty much be the nail in the coffin.
I like it.
Have we even used patches yet?
Yes.
Yeah, we're okay. I love that. I can't see how they can recover from this board. They've already
They
used a
can.
blizzard.
He has to Kazakus, and he has to pick.
Is this a singleton style deck?
No.
No. I'm thinking of all of his outs. He would have to Kazakus.
Yeah,
And that's
a ping
it.
to the face
That's
is
the
usually
only way.
with a board like that. Ping to the face is usually considered. This is good. I enjoyed that.
It's a
mage
fun deck.
That mage deck was fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you guys are curious about that mage deck, Versika streams Monday nights, usually starting around 6:30, 7-ish for 2 or 3 hours.
Usually 6:30.
Yeah. So, you can come. He's the mad scientist. He's always trying new things. It's fun to watch. So, all right. Well, that was awesome. Two out of 2. You can't beat that. All right, I guess that's gonna kind of do it for us this week. Had a lot of news to touch on. Again, if you guys are able to this weekend, go check out a HCT playoff location near you, and go have some fun playing some Hearthstone. So, Rocio, do you have anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yes, if you are in the Knoxville area this weekend, come by, say hi, get some swag, get your Power Core card back. I believe we're doing a Pauper tournament on Saturday. I think we'll probably try to do some afters over at Green's Tavern for those of drinking age. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to hang out with all the local Hearthstone players and see some really good Hearthstone in North America, and hopefully Amnesiac can back up his words.
Versika?
I'm super excited for this weekend. I always love these events. I'm glad we're getting to do it again. If you don't have anything going on Friday, come on out to Level Up and support our Tavern Heroes. We have 2 that are going to be trying to make it into the playoffs, and it would be really cool if we could come out and support them. And if we got enough people, maybe we'll do a fireside or a mini tournament
Just
then.
throw something together impromptu. Yeah. I am not above having 8 people wanting to play and just firing one off. So,
Yep.
all right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted to when we go live. And for more details on anything to do with the show, you can check out our website, heropowerhs.com. And for more information on our Patreon, you can check that out at patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Monday. See you Monday.